Hey everybody, this video is going to walk you through what you need to do for your final assignment for Composition 2, which is our original work. So I have here the instruction sheet that is available for you on D2L. And so for the original work, the whole goal behind this is to give you a chance to explore something literary creatively. So I've given you a few different options here just to, some people have their own idea and are really creative and like love to do writing projects, and some people just don't know how to get started. And whichever person you are is okay. If this is something you've never done before, that's totally fine. I'm just asking you to be open to a new creative experience. Or if this is your thing and you're excited about it, then, really get into it. I just want to make sure that you are clear on the expectations and all your options here. So you're going to write something that is about 1,000 words, and it needs to include some kind of literary elements that we've talked about this semester. Now that is a lot of stuff, so it needs to include, it does need to include everything, but it should include some combination of abstract and concrete stuff happening in so you would have an abstract theme that's going on, love, grief, whatever. And you want to bring that to life in concrete ways through, characters and setting and plot and that kind of thing. So you can choose to write a short story or a play, like a dramatic, even if it's just a monologue, that would be totally fine. Or you could do like a one-act play, or you can do some poems. I have set here about 1,000 words, but that is so difficult to gauge, especially when it comes to poetry. So the big thing here is I want you to put some effort into it, if you don't have to send in like 50 different poems if you don't want to. If you're not sure, do shoot me a message and ask, just so we can talk through it and you're not getting confused and anxious. So essentially you need to write something creative. One of the options you can choose is a spin-off. So choose a text that we read this semester. So anything from our class, any of the short stories or poems or plays that we read, and then do a spin-off. So if you're not familiar with the term spin-off, this is kind of an old school TV term where say you have one show that's going on, like Breaking Bad, that's the one that comes to mind, and it's got this whole like set of characters and all this stuff that happens, and then essentially they'll take a character from that show or a situation, and they'll create a whole other show about it. So Breaking Bad is a show, and then they took that and did a spin-off about one of the characters. Why am I blanking on the name? The lawyer guy. They did this whole big show about the lawyer guy, and it's just as good as Breaking Bad. So essentially you're going to take something from one of the short stories or plays, and then you're going to pick a character or pick a situation and like expand on that and give it its own story. So some examples that I have read in the past that worked out really well would be like a spin-off that is like of Sonny's Blues, that's not so much about the narrator as it is about Sonny and his experience in jail. So that kind of thing would be an option. You can choose to do a spin-off saying what might happen after the story's going on. So maybe you wanted to write a spin-off of Sonny's Blues and have it be, something that happens a few years down the line after these brothers reconnect, and tell a story about something that happens there. So there's a lot of different things you could do with this. Again, I'm happy to brainstorm with you. I've read some really cool ones over the years, and they're always different. It's always fun. This is my favorite assignment to read. Another option you can do would be to change the ending. So take one of the plays or short stories that we read and give it an alternative ending. But try to keep the style. Like that's kind of a challenge to keep the writer's original style. If you're doing the spin-off, you can do your own style, right? Like you're doing doing your own thing. You're spinning off. But if you change the ending, that's an opportunity to really look at the writer's style and try to kind of emulate that. So if you feel like, I don't know if I have a writing voice that I know what to do with, changing the ending might be a good idea, because you could like kind of get into the original writer's voice, and go from there. A fun thing that people have done with this in the past would be to take Trifles, the play, and give Minnie, a vindication at the end, like let her have a bit of a moment at the end. So there have been some cool things. And if you choose to write about a play, you don't necessarily have to write a play. So if you choose to write about Trifles, you don't have to continue writing it as a play. You could do it as a short story. In fact, there is a short story version of Trifles that Susan Glaspell wrote. So you don't have to stick necessarily to genre, but you can. You could also do some response poems. So you could write a poem or series of poems in response to one of the poems from our class, like How Allowables is in response to Mercy. And look at those if you're not sure what I'm talking about or you don't remember. Throughout the history of literature, there are a lot of response poems where somebody reads a poem and they think of something to say back to it. So they're kind of in conversation with poet one. Poet two is taking that idea and going somewhere else with it, or sometimes even arguing with it or taking it further. So that could be a good jumping off point as well. You could also just free space down here. You could write about whatever you want. So if you have a story idea you've been kicking around, or you like to write poetry on the side, this would be a great time to give yourself some time to work on a project that you're already thinking about, or that you're may have already started. Please don't use AI for this. This should be your own thing. So you have a lot of options here. I give you the spin-off and the change the ending and the response just to give you something to start with if you're not sure. But again, if you want to write something that is totally your own thing, that's fine as well. Again, if you have questions or you're like anxious or unsure, or, well, God, what do I do? Just send me a message. I am happy to work through it with you, but just you have a lot of freedom here. And I know sometimes having a lot of freedom is exciting and creative, but also sometimes it makes it harder because you're like, I don't know where to start. So I'm happy to help you with this. I'm going to switch to a different document just to show you kind of the breakdown of how this unit will go. So I have the original work assignment here that has your options. So this whole part is what we just talked about. But I want to go through the steps of how you're going to do this. So you'll see on D2L there are 3 assignment submission folders for your original work. And the first one is a proposal. The instructions are on there too. But this is like before you begin writing, and I will try to read these really fast after you turn them in so I can help you. So if you have questions or you're not sure about something that you want to do, put that in your proposal, and I can put that in the feedback notes as well. So again, you're welcome to message me if you have questions, but you could also, ask questions within your proposal or that kind of thing, because I will try to read those pretty fast. So this proposal can be pretty short, 200 words. You just need to tell me what your topic is, a little bit about it, so a description or outline, and a little bit about why you chose this topic. So nothing too big, just like a paragraph or a few sentences with some bullet points, that kind of thing. And you'll turn that in before the original work, like the whole thing. And you can find that due date on D2L. After you turn in your proposal, you'll submit the final draft of your original work. That is the whole thing. And then after you submit your original work, you're going to do a literary reflection. So you're just going to kind of analyze what you've written for your original work, like what literary elements did you use? Give some examples. How do these elements work together to convey your meaning? What was the challenging part? That is the point of being creative. There's always some puzzle or challenge. It's normal to get frustrated. I think you can't make anything really good if there isn't a challenging part that you have to kind of wrestle with. So just what was the hard part? And it's okay if you said, getting started is the hard part, or I got stuck or whatever. So just whatever comes to mind for what was the hard part of this. And then I want to hear what you're most proud of about your story. So I think one of the best things we can do after we create something, whether it's something creative like this or even just an essay, is to kind of step back and say, hey, this turned out good. I like this. I'm proud of this. It helps give you a little bit more of a sense of like purpose and satisfaction with your work, which is really, really good. I kind of equate it to like, say, your room is a mess or your kitchen is a mess, and you're like, oh man, I got to clean all this up. And there might be some challenging parts, right? You might get frustrated, might take a while. But then once you're done cleaning, you step back and you look at your room that you just cleaned and you're like, this looks really good. Like I feel satisfied with my effort. I think that's a way to kind of wire your brain to reward itself for your efforts, is to have that step back and be like, wow, I did a good job. I really like this. So I'm not looking for anything super duper specific for the challenge and the proud of parts. Just, be honest. Tell me how it went. I really love reading those. Like it makes me really happy. So yeah, that's your original work assignment. Again, this is your final project. We do not have a final exam in this class. So this is really your final exam stuff. And I really hope you have fun with it. Again, reach out if you have any questions or you need some help brainstorming or just not sure about anything. Have a good week.